Event Center in today's Big East Conference.
We welcome you to the Peterson Event Center on the campus of the University of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh up by 2. A tip from the freshman Chris Taft, and there's a ball knocked out of bounds. As a Big East encounter underway, the defending national champion Syracuse Orangemen, 18-6 for the year, against the third-ranked Pitt Panthers. They come in with 25 wins and 2 defeats.
Well, Vern, just as was the case in the last game, Pitt starts out with an offensive rebound. It was only 1 second, so no time whatsoever to turn around and make a jump shot.
Now let's give you the 5 for each team on the court. Syracuse, Forth, Warwick, Nichols, Pace, and McNamara. For Pittsburgh, the freshman Taft, Troutman, Brown, Page, and the sophomore Carl Krauser.
Again, look at Pitt trying to go inside. Tough pass right there. One of the things that's interesting about this Pitt team, and I don't think I've ever seen this in a long, long time, Vern, of the 5 starters, every one of them has a positive assist-turnover ratio, including Taft, who just threw that ball away. That is tough to beat when everybody can make a play.
Got a glimpse of Jim Boeheim in his 28th year as the head coach at Syracuse. Here's Josh Pace, number 5. Billy Edelin, the sophomore, continues to be absent from this team because of personal issues with which he's dealing. Here's Warwick.
And this big matchup, Page going up against McNamara.
And Krauser mishandled it. Here's Jamie Dixon, 38 years of age in his first season. He was an assistant to Ben Howland here at Pitt. Got the job after a couple of the players approached the chancellor and said, we'd like for Jamie Dixon to become our new head coach. Now Jim Burr, one of the 3 officials, chatting with Jim Boeheim.
Well, we're talking about whether or not Krauser had possession of the ball on that play. 35 seconds on the clock. It looks like Jim Burr is going to look to see if there's any correction necessary here.
Now John Cahill comes over, and they've reset the clock at 6 seconds.
Jim Boeheim felt that Krauser had the ball in his possession, and therefore he should have got another full 35. Didn't get it.
6 on the shot clock. Syracuse inbounds. That's Pace. That one knocked out of bounds. 4 on the shot clock.
Well, there was only 1 the last time, and now with 4, you got plenty of time to go ahead and get the kind of shot work. Went for last time, a turnaround jumper. Here he is.
That's off the mark. Rebound. Jerron Brown.
Probably as good a 6'4 rebounder as there is in the country.
Page kicks it back out. It's taken away by. And then Page gets her. Brown got it back. And an air ball. Here comes Syracuse.
And here's Page McNamara. That is a great matchup, although there was a switch on that play. Krauser making the switch.
Craig Forth into the hands of Josh Pace, number 5. Clear path. Lays it off the glass short. Forth with the rebound. At 7-2, he doesn't get that many, and he can't handle this one.
He should have taken that ball, Vern, right back into the basket and at least drawn a foul. No reason to pull it back out. Beautiful pass.
Reverse layup, not good. And Warwick comes down with the ball.
Again, Taft showing his ability with a touch pass on the inside. I like this interior passing of Pittsburgh against the 2-3 zone.
There's Pace over Krauser. Got it. We're tied.
He loves that shot. Uses the left hand, shoots it on the way up. Very difficult to guard. Not a traditional jump shooter. But now we see that 2-3 zone, fourth in the middle, who started every game he's ever been at Syracuse, right encamped in the center of the paint.
Almost taken away by pace. Jeremy McNeil getting ready to come in for Syracuse. There's Jerron Brown, that's for three. Longest home court winning streaks. The Pitt Panthers won behind Duke, who defeated Valparaiso the other night. Stephen F. Austin and Wisconsin, and this is current, as Wisconsin won big today, have won 28 in a row. This is the second season in this sparkling facility. As you look at Jeremy McNeil, and Pitt undefeated in this building. They're 34-0 here.
Good screen by McNeil that time. Nichols didn't take advantage of it.
Here's Warwick with Troutman defending. Nice move.
Sensational move on the inside. Warwick, as we saw last year, making great strides as an offensive player. We know what kind of wingspan he's got to cause problems at the defensive end. That was a fine move against Troutman, who's an excellent defender.
Troutman, nice pass. And Taft can't get the reverse, but does get the follow. No good. A tussle. It'll be Pittsburgh ball.
Taft showing some pretty good hands himself in here for a freshman who's one of the top freshmen in the country.
Hakeem Warwick, Syracuse up by 2. Now let's take a look at the singular one-on-one with Billy Packer trivia challenge. Which player set the NCAA tournament record for rebounds in a game? A, B, or C? Take the challenge now for a chance to win a trip to the Final Four. Send a text message 26222 from your singular wireless phone or most other carriers' phones, or log on to cbssportsline.com/2NCAA.
Nice strip on the ball that time by Pace.
Kansas a big winner over Oklahoma, further diminishing the chances of Oklahoma getting into the tournament. Here's Warwick, and a foul called. Well, let's bring you up to date on the Big East standings and underline the significance of this one. Pittsburgh, best start ever in the Big East. Providence won big today over St. John's. They're tied with UConn, a half game back. Seton Hall at 9-5. And Notre Dame.
Vern, I think every one of those I had in the box could possibly have an opportunity to be in the NCAA tournament. I don't think they'll all get there, but you got to figure there's some tough games to go the rest of the way. And then you've got the Big East tournament. If somebody would have made a 3-game run there that was on the bottom part of that standings, they could weasel their way into the NCAA tournament. You know, you got a 500 record in this league. Got a pretty good shot.
I saw Notre Dame yesterday with a really convincing win out on the coast against UCLA.
Chris Thomas, another big ball game there. Again, easy passing against this 2-3 zone. Jim Boeheim cannot believe how McNeil was out of position. No reason to leave home there.
That was a pass from Troutman to Jerron Brown. 5-4 Syracuse. McNamara. There's the jumper.
Oh, a big mistake by Pitt. They got by with it. Brown left. McNamara wide open after the switch.
Page finds Krauser. Jump stop. Feed. Troutman for 2.
This is as good as I've seen anybody penetrate the Syracuse zone in a long, long time. Pitt does not have great outside perimeter shooting, but they sure are able to penetrate, kick inside, and as I said before, everybody in that starting lineup with a positive assist turnover ratio enables you to make plays inside the paint. In the first game, Pitt had a 40-18 advantage of points in the paint. Easy.
Krauser, face back. Krauser takes it left-handed. McNeil with a rebound. Here comes Syracuse. 2-on-2. Now Warwick will settle it down. They'll go to the half-court set.
Pitt with their experience, and you got to figure 3 major seniors out here on this ball club. They understand defensive balance. Tough to fast break against them.
Warwick in and out. There's the freshman Taft with his 3rd rebound in the early going.
4 times this year he's been selected freshman of the week. Obviously is going to be that for the year in the Big East. Sean Miller had 4 when he was back here at Pitt. So that ties Sean for the record. You got to figure Taft will get another one before it's over.
Another fine interior pass. Brown caught too far underneath, and Troutman is there. Can't get it. Brown loose ball.
Wow! Wow! We talked about 20 offensive rebounds in the first game, and there it was. Pitt just battling. Now, if you're Syracuse and they're going to send 3 and 4 men to the boards like that, wouldn't be bad to stop trying to catch the ball, just tip it out and get a fast break going.
Here's McNamara.
So far has not been able to get away from Page for some jump shots. Maybe a little too patient.
Siobhan Troutman called for the foul.
Here we're going to see that action inside. Brown gets it blocked. Troutman there to put it back. Everybody's got their hands on the ball again, and even though Syracuse has got a big advantage in size, Pitt keeps working those boards.
Loose ball, nice dish, Mickles. And the rebound after the miss in the hands of Carl Krauser.
Krauser gets that rebound over Ford.
Brown. That's off the hands of Mark McCarroll, who was in along with Torrey Morris at the last dead ball.
Now, one of the things when you're playing a zone like this, you're usually trying to stop guys from taking jump shots. This is going to be so different for Syracuse. They have got to stop the penetration and the bounce pass inside and really start collapsing that zone to the point that maybe everybody's got a foot at the foul line. You can see where McNamara is. He's at the foul line now, no longer at the top of the key where he'd normally be positioned.
Warwick is called for this foul. That's his second. Boy, they can ill afford to lose him. Leading scorer on the ball club, a great defender. And he plays with 2 fouls now. As we mentioned, Billy Edelin not with the team.
Again, why would you worry about the jump shot? Stay back and stop the dribble penetration and the bounce pass. Warwick got caught up in the air. Kind of in the same corner he got caught up in the air in the Final Four. But it was the right time to be there. Blocking Lee's shot to end that great Final Four battle.
That was Michael Lee of Kansas, and that was in the last 2 seconds. 81-78, Syracuse first national title. Morris with good block out there and gut position.
Excellent block out position. We watched Pitt practice yesterday. Because of their depth, particularly its size, they really get a chance to work against other people that can go up there and get it.
There's Mark McCarroll, number 21. He's had a really fine year. Exploded earlier this season against Georgia when he hit his first 10 shots and wound up 11 of 12 in that game.
On the offensive end of the floor, no drop-off whatsoever. Matter of fact, it may improve them when he comes into the ball game, the way he's playing of late. Tremendous defense right now by Pitt.
Now, this is a Pitt team that is yielding, on the average, 57 points per game. 57 points per game.
Held Syracuse to 45 in that first one, the lowest in the dome ever for Syracuse.
They do not beat the shot clock.
And that was not a pass. No. That was a shot by McNamara. Nothing there.
Media timeout. 10-5. Pitt.
CBS Sports College Basketball coverage is sponsored by the new Chevrolets. 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months. An American revolution. Singular, the wireless company that fits you best. And by E-Trade Financial.
Back in Pittsburgh, Syracuse 18-6, conference record of 8-5. The RPI is 25 and the strength of schedule 40. They had key wins earlier against Michigan State and at Missouri. Unexpected losses, Charlotte, Seton Hall, Notre Dame. Do you think they're in?
Oh, absolutely, they're in. Now, what's interesting, how that RPI works, remember, Missouri was way down and Michigan State was way down. So those wins didn't mean much before, but now those two teams are making big moves.
Right.
As they're making moves, even though Syracuse is not playing, they're right on their backs, moving right up in that RPI.
Krauser for 3.
Left wide open, we can see the zone packing back to stop the penetration. Nobody within, I'd say, a good 6-8 feet of Krauser on that jump shot.
Krauser, the 22-year-old sophomore from the Bronx, coming off a game in which he scored 26. Here's fourth, who wasn't ready for it. And it's out of bounds, Syracuse. With the conclusion of today's game, we'll select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game from each team. Chevrolet will make a contribution to each school's general scholarship fund, a tradition for over 30 years.
Roberts in the game. Syracuse keeps coming back in with tall people. I think they've got to get Warwick the ball a lot now and figure out ways to score. Get McNamara open with some good solid screens. He has not been able to get away from Krauser. On the switches, it's been tough for him all day long. Tough shot.
Krauser right in his face again. Warwick, the tip. That's Terrence Roberts, number 33. Billy referred to the height. He's 6'9", a freshman from Jersey City, New Jersey.
A lot of size on that floor with Roberts in fourth and Warwick. But still, Pitt with their great blocking out technique, not letting them get on the boards at all offensively.
Well, there's fourth. How about that?
Good no call. It turned out to be not a finish by fourth, and he should have put it away, but Roberts picked it up.
Hey, Jerron Brown showed a little courage.
He sure did. Taking on a 7'1", 275-pound player, coming full speed.
9:55 to go, first half. That is the first Syracuse field goal in 5 minutes. Here's Krauser, alley. Oh, beauty! McCarroll.
Again, I do not understand, with the size that Syracuse has in the game, why they're not protecting the paint. Make Pitt show that they can hit some outside shots, as Krauser did at least once.
Here's McNamara.
Nice crossover dribble, no place to go.
McCarroll was there defensively. This is out of bounds. It will be Syracuse ball. McNamara showing a little frustration.
Yes, he really is. And again, over the top in the paint against his own. That actually could have been called offensive goaltending. That ball is in the cylinder when touched. It should have been no basket.
Orangeman, there's fourth. Got this one to go.
Taft that time fell asleep a little bit, man-to-man on the out-of-bounds situation. Fourth taking it right to the basket.
Now Yuri Demetrius is on number 3. Increased minutes recently and playing quite well. Not scoring a lot. There's the ball in the hands of Roberts. Here comes McNamara.
And as Jim Calhoun said at the top of this show, you've got to try to get some fast breaks going to pick up some easy baskets. But Pitt does a great job with their defensive balance getting back.
Louis McCroskey is also on the floor for Syracuse. There's Craig Fourth with another from close range.
Nice job by Fourth here, getting some points, and these are points that are extremely important for Syracuse. They got to figure a way to get on the board, not get in the situation like they did up in the Dome.
Down by 4, Jerron Brown. Outside now, Julius Page back on the floor, and here's Demetrius, number 3.
So only Krauser on the floor right now. Any threat whatsoever from outside.
There's McCarroll. Warwick down to double. Demetrius kicked, fresh 35.
You notice that, Vern, looking to pass. Even with the double and triple team inside, the ball comes back out. Nobody's set up to shoot the jump shot.
McNamara is going to get a respite now, something that he has not had much of with the absence of Billy Edelin.
And because of the kick, 35 on the clock again. Got to get a fast break here.
Here's Pace, 3-on-1. Alley-oop, nope. Pace with the rebound. McCarroll, goaltender.
And there's that fast break opportunity. Syracuse taking advantage of it. Pace with that flying left-hand shot of his. No question about the goaltender.
2-point game. Now Julius Page at the point as Krauser rests. Siobhan Troutman and Krauser getting ready to come back.
I think you really want to pack that zone back in there now. Demetrius not looking to take a jump shot. Page doesn't want one. Brown's not an outside shooter.
Baseline, turn around, tap, no. Defensive job by McCroskey, number 42. Had a chance to tie.
Low scoring ball game as expected, but Syracuse doing a nice job here staying in this game on the road against a team that's never lost in this arena.
Billy alluded to the fact that Syracuse scored only 45 in the first game between these two teams up in the Carrier Dome. Foul is called on Josh Pace. 7 minutes and 16 seconds remaining first half. Pitt by 2 at the Peterson. Low scoring game, neither team hitting better than 40%. Matter of fact, Syracuse down there 33.
33. Shot 27% in the first game. You know, when you were shooting, and went to the foul line 25 times. We're 11 from 25 from the foul line. So you're shooting 27% from the floor, and you shoot 11 for 25 from the foul line. Everything affected Syracuse to the game in the Dome. And take a look at this zone. Now, I still don't know why Syracuse is that far out with the exception of Krauser. Pack that ball way back in there.
Nice screen by Troutman. Krauser misfires from 3. And they'll try and pick up the pace a little bit. McCroskey. And here it is in the hands of Pace. Josh Pace. Looks for 4th, finds it. Shot clock at 10.
Warwick trying to get position, but Troutman doing a good job bodying him.
Pace, turnaround jumper, Taft, way up.
Boy, you love that rebound, don't you? 5 rebounds the young man has. He goes up strong, uses that body. In practice with Morse yesterday, he's getting all of that work against an experienced veteran, and he is some rebounder for a young man in this league.
Quite impressive, Chris Taft from Brooklyn, New York.
Again, look at the hesitancy to take jump shots with the exception of Krauser. Brown's not going to take one.
Right side, here's Page, 3 on the shot clock. He finds himself trapped. There's Krauser, lobs it up.
Would have counted.
Yes.
Smart play on his part. The running one-hander on the catch.
Carl Krauser, who starts this year in place of the graduated Brandon Knight. Knight is playing in Asheville. This Pittsburgh team also lost Ontario Lett.
What is that?
I'm not sure.
No, you don't want 4 throwing passes from out there.
Krauser taken down hard. Well, Syracuse 18-6. If they do not get back in the tournament, they would join this group of champions who did not get the opportunity to defend.
Kind of interesting group there, isn't it? Imagine winning a national championship, being part of that team, then the next year, you know, saying, gee, well, we can return, and all of a sudden not even getting into the tournament. It's one thing to repeat as the national champion, but to not even get in the hunt.
You get a sense that the committee doesn't factor in defending national champion?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think the committee looks at that at all. I think everything kind of each year stands on its own.
Right. Here's Krauser at the free throw line. These are 2 pathetic free throw shooting teams.
You know what, Vern? Imagine this. 3 teams, Pitt, Syracuse, Connecticut. They rank in the league 11th, 12th, and 13th from the free throw line in the Big East. That's amazing, isn't it, for teams that are that proficient in other areas of the game?
I'll take it one step further. Of all the Division I teams, Pittsburgh ranks 298th and Syracuse 308th.
Unbelievable, isn't it? And you're talking about teams that when you get in the NCAA tournament, how many times do we see, particularly even in that first weekend, the inability to make free throws in clutch situations can really cost you.
McCarroll back in. Syracuse to throw it in. 16-13 with 5:11 to go.
That's the second time today that Forth could have had a layup on an out-of-bounds play. He wasn't ready to score.
Well, he's averaging 5.5 per game, and you're getting an example of why it's so low. Here's McCroskey. Under 5 now.
McNamara not coming for the ball. He's not being aggressive to get his hands on the ball. Page really doing a great job on it.
There's a little soft jumper that's good. Pace, 6 points. 16-15.
6 points, 3 field goals, all on that running left-hander of his.
Krauser, Page, Demetris, McCarroll, and Taft on the floor for Pittsburgh. Here's Page.
Not even close on the outside shots today. Matter of fact, not even reboundable. And that, you know, when you've got shooters that don't have soft shots up there so that you can go to the glass the way that Pittsburgh has such great ability to go to the glass, that is not good at all.
Panthers now 1 of 6 from 3-point range. Here's McNamara. Page right with him.
But they will guard you.
They're a little tenacious. McCroskey. Well, they reach in, can't quite slap it away. And again, 10 on the shot clock. Here's McNamara. He can't lose Page at all.
Page is taped to his shirt.
Rebound, Taft.
How often we've seen Taft go up with two hands, Vern, clearing out a path to get that rebound. Those are just outstanding rebounds.
Already the youngster's got 6. Loses this one. There's a turnover.
No, that's another bad pass. Fourth the first time, McNamara that time.
Nice dish. Beauty, Krauser.
We watched those two in practice yesterday. They understand each other, how they want to run on that break. That was a big turnover, though, for Syracuse. In a game like this, you cannot turn it over because Pitt's not going to give you any easy ones.
You got a sense of Jim Boeheim's displeasure. 3:05 to go. It's an 18-15 ball game. Back to fourth. And Pace, fourth was open. Didn't get him the ball.
But Vern, he's open, but then he doesn't go to the ball to make himself in a position to score.
Loose ball, Demetrius. There's McNamara, knocks it out of bounds. Two minutes and 44 seconds to go before the break. 18-15 Pittsburgh.
Well, Vern, here's what it's like to be a shadow. McNamara realized this. Watch Julius Page. No matter what McNamara does, he gets rid of the ball. Page follows him, keeps an eye on the ball, knows where he's coming off the screen. Watch him fight over the top here. Beats McNamara to the spot. Just very difficult to get that ball back. And what I think also is happening in this game that I'm noticing, last year, Carmelo Anthony, and I think a mark of a great player is a guy that can make his teammates better. Carmelo Anthony would understand what's happening right now in this ball game to McNamara and would make plays so that he could get his teammate open. You can see how much McNamara misses having a player of that caliber with him. Krauser, the only guy on the team that's going to make a jump shot, and they allow him to have the shot.
He's got 7. That's his second 3 of the ball game. The sophomore who redshirted his first year here. Played behind Brandon Knight for those 2 years, and Warwick is fouled and will go to the free throw line.
A little difference with Troutman not in the ball game right there for Warwick to get inside position. Got it much easier on McCurl than he'd been able to get on Troutman.
Now, we talked about the free throw woes of this team. Warwick actually hitting 68% for the season, and he's been to the line more often than anybody else. He gets that one. But if you take Jerry McNamara out of the free throw equation for Syracuse, as a team, they're hitting 51%. That's for the season. That includes Warwick and McNamara, who are McNamara's at 87%.
87. Number 2 in the conference in foul shooting, Ryan Gomes from Providence. You hear so much about him as a player. I've not seen him in person. Watched him on TV a time or two, but for a guy that's doing what he's doing for the team and leading the conference in free throw shooting, that really speaks well for him.
This Pittsburgh team goes to Providence for a big game on Tuesday night. Providence 20-5 now. Here's Krauser, quick. McNamara, it's taken away. McCroskey. How about the charge?
McCroskey, very inexperienced player, didn't wait on Warwick to get the angle on the pass.
Coming up on Singular at the half, Greg and Seth will have all the scores and highlights. Plus, you'll get the answer to the Singular one-on-one Billy Packer Trivia Challenge. Remember, you still have time to select your answer. That's coming up on Singular at the half. Now, we were reading that a while ago, and the 3 names. I saw you smile.
Well, I mean, come on. We're talking about Hall of Famer Bill Russell, one of the greatest rebounders of all time. Tom Gola led his team to the national championship.
And Fred Cohen.
Wait a minute. You think this is a trick question?
21-17. Corey Morris back on the floor now. McCarroll, they're the 2 big men.
Nice.
Taft has gotten a rest. He's going to reappear at the next dead ball.
Brown almost making a steal from behind.
I think Syracuse was hoping to get a game in the 60s or 70s. They're a long way from that.
Well, this Pittsburgh team plays as good a defense you want to see when you take in consideration the full court. They get back on defense, so you can't break against them easily. Nice dump inside. They play the tough half-court man-to-man defense, and they are a powerful rebounding team.
Time call by Pittsburgh. McCroskey got that basket to cut the margin to 2. 56.8 left in the first half. Final day of February today. That means the madness is upon us. First conference tournaments begin on the 2nd. Major conference tournaments on the 10th and 11th. And then Selection Sunday on the 14th. And our coverage of the NCAA tournament begins on the 18th and 19th. And will conclude again this year with the championship game, April 5th.
But look at this zone defense now. There's the 2-3, 4th down in the center. I think Pittsburgh's adjusting a lot better now than they did earlier in this ball game. Remember how Pitt was just going right through him with penetrating dribble.
Here's Krauser, takes the jumper as McNamara and Ford fly at him. McCarroll just missed, and Taft is going to go to the free throw line.
That'll be a pretty good foul by Fourth on that play, but Taft and McCarroll were just up there together. Matter of fact, the only reason probably the first one didn't go in, just dominating the offensive glass.
Here's a young man who is not exceptional at the free throw line, 58%.
Yeah, watched his free throw yesterday, and he's going to have to break that down completely. Watch Vern, the way he has the ball grasped when he starts off, his hands are down, and then he throws up what looks like a knuckleball. See how the hands are down, then he tries to get him back up, and he shoots a knuckleball on the foul shot.
There is no rotation on that ball.
He's going to have to change that completely in the offseason.
22-19, final 30, no shot clock in effect. Here's Pace, Jerron Brown guarding him. Timeout, Syracuse. 22.9 remaining first half. St. Joseph's had a scare at Rhode Island yesterday. Stanford did not in its games. Last time we had 2 undefeated teams this late in the season, 76. Indiana went all the way.
And Rutgers made it to the Final Four with Tom Young as well that year.
So Gonzaga win last night convincingly in the final home game at the Kennel.
There are only 2 losses against those 2 guys that are undefeated.
That's right.
Pretty impressive.
Lost in the Garden to St. Joseph's and lost in a tournament in Oakland to Stanford.
A team on the bubble a little bit is Washington right now. Very impressive when they came east to play North Carolina State. Nobody there. Got to throw it up.
That would have been good had it gone. It did not. That's the end of the half. Low-scoring, defensive-oriented game. 22-19. Singular at the half after these messages. Halftime, Pittsburgh leads it 22-19.
CBS Sports college basketball coverage is sponsored by Sprite and Thirst, reminding you to obey your thirst. Warner Brothers' new motion picture, Starsky and Hutch, rated PG-13 in theaters Friday, March 5th. And by Burger King, who reminds you to have it your way.
Low-scoring Big East encounter, 22-19. Pittsburgh leads by 3.
Kurt, I feel like I'm at the Final Four with Wisconsin against Michigan State. That's right. What it feels like. Every basket is a grind out.
Here's Fourth back on the floor, number 51. McNamara scoreless in the first half. Still scoreless, and Page is right there.
Well, you have McNamara now is 0 for 5. Warwick is 1 for 5. So here you have your 2 leading scorers in a situation. They are 1 for 10 for the game. Great job by Page. He just is shielding him, not giving him any open looks.
And between those 2, 36 points per game for Syracuse. Now Krauser moves over to the left side.
You know, and taking that in consideration, Vern, just being down 3 points, having your 2 stars in that kind of situation, something that you wouldn't feel that bad about.
Brown short with the baseline jumper. Rebound into the hands of Josh Pace. Nichols has it.
Troutman doing a great job on Warwick, too, keeping that ball away from any time he touches the ball. He's getting banged around inside. No fouling on that. That's just good defensive technique by Troutman. Well, he falls down too late.
And Warwick gets it.
And there's an example. You know, he's talked about how he was able to body Warwick the entire game. And when he fell down, all of a sudden, there's a little bit of space that Warwick needed.
And you can sense the crowd getting a little restless now. 22-21, opening moments of the second half.
Again, everything bounced past inside with stepping up Krauser. Nobody looking for the outside shot. Syracuse adjusting pretty well. They're being broken down early in the ball game.
Taft. Rebound Syracuse. Nichols had a chance for the lead. Here's Pace.
Got that leaner.
Batted up in the air. And McNamara saves it for the Orangemen.
Pace open.
Got it, and the Orangemen lead.
Good break to the basket by Pace. Good offensive rebounding for Syracuse, something that Pitt has not allowed so far in this ball game.
Now that sense of restlessness has become a sense of urgency by this crowd.
And they've got to prove that they can hit some outside shots to loosen up this 2-3 zone, which is now back down inside the foul line.
Page. Rebound Pittsburgh. On the floor. Pace has it. 3 on 2. McNamara for 3. Fourth with the rebound. Off Syracuse, Pittsburgh ball.
That was a good pull-up jumper that time by McNamara, but you know what? He doesn't look like he has good legs to me. Looks like he's very tired in the legs.
Halftime stats. Field goal percentage, both at 35. Rebounds, an edge of 2 for Pittsburgh. Right. Timeout, Pittsburgh. 22-23 Cuse. This week's AP Top 10, Stanford and St. Joseph's 1 and 2, as they have been for a while. Pittsburgh 3rd, Gonzaga 4th, and Duke, big game tonight at Florida State. And you've got Oklahoma State, Mississippi State, UConn, Kentucky, and Texas. How about that block by Emeka Okafor yesterday?
Terrific. You know, not only is he the best defender in the United States, but he has great leadership qualities for that team. I mean, he exemplifies everything you'd want in not only a teammate, but in a great All-American player.
That was in UConn's 1-point overtime victory over Villanova. In the corner, now here's Troutman.
Again, trying to go inside, but see what Syracuse is doing now as opposed to early in the game. They're packing 5 guys inside the paint.
And it's working over. Krauser with this turnover. 4th, see how strong he goes. No, not very.
You know, when you're 4th, you cannot afford to try to take a finesse play inside on the break. Catch the ball with 2 hands and go up and try to dunk it. But of course, you don't want 4th to be that guy in the center on the break anyway if you're Syracuse. Yeah, you know, I really think the answer for Pitt may be Mark McCarroll. They've got to get somebody else to be the secondary shooter from the outside. Now they're going to a double low stack against this zone. Again, trying to get something inside. Look at how much they're packing it in. That defense now is inside 12 feet.
Now the jumper from Brown not there.
A real weakness in the Pitt offense here, not having that secondary jump shooter. Krauser, the only guy even looking for the shot.
McNamara outside for 3, air ball. That hit Warwick, so it'll be Pittsburgh ball.
Wide open shot for Nichols. Really didn't have the ball seated in his hands. We're seeing a woeful offensive performance by both teams. And here comes McCarroll in the ball game.
That Jamie Dixon, as if he was listening to you.
Yeah, I really think he has to be the answer. Put him at the top of the key. Get Krauser out to the side so you've got 2 guys a threat to shoot the jumper.
Here's Brown. Krauser takes it over McNamara. Not there. Page saves it. Takes the jumper. Foul.
That's the range that he'd like to shoot the ball. 12 to 15 feet. Just a long rebound on that shot. Good job by Page taking that ball inside. Goes up strong with the left hand. But again, that's a 12 to 15 foot shot. McCarroll in the ball game, Tate out. So that means that they're still going to go with the big. He's going to be playing in a bigger position.
Here's Page at the line. He's 70% for the year. Three-point play puts Pitt back on top. They've got a 40-game winning streak on the line at home. April 7th last year on CBS, Syracuse against Kansas for the title. Jerry McNamara finished with 18 points. He had 6 3-pointers. Carmelo Anthony led the team with 20 points and 10 rebounds. And the big defensive play of the game, Hakeem Warwick blocked Michael Lee's shot in the final seconds to preserve the 81-78 Syracuse win and help the Orangemen to their first national title.
Vern, did you notice McNamara's jump shot on that little piece right there? How quick he came off the floor. When you get tired legs, even though you're a great shooter as he is, the legs are what start your jump shot, and that's not there today.
You know, I hate to beat this to death, but because of Edelin's absence, he's forced to go just about 38-40 minutes a game.
Oh, yeah. And that can wear down a player that he's got the responsibility to be the primary shooter and also the primary ball handler. Tough thing to do.
Now you see the averages in this game. Here's Page with another jumper off the mark. The tip, no. McCarroll got it. Troutman kept it alive right in there. And
as much as Syracuse is packed down inside, they shouldn't be giving up offensive rebounds. In that first game, in the second half, Pitt got a 14-3 run to blow the game open.
Time calls Syracuse. They're down by 4. Pittsburgh trying to win its 41st in a row at home, a streak that began at Fitzgerald Fieldhouse against Syracuse, then moved on to the Peterson Event Center. This is the second year here, and you see the average of margin of victory, 19 points almost, and 20 Big East wins.
Well, the thing that really impressed you, too, are their 2 losses. A tough loss in the last shot against Connecticut, and then a double overtime loss in the matter of the last shot situation with Seton Hall. So you've got to be as impressed with their losses as you are this great streak they've had with wins.
Here's Warwick with the double team. That leaves Pace open, and he gets the 2-pointer.
Good job by Warwick to recognize the double team coming. Pace has moved very well without the ball. It's about the 3rd or 4th shot that he's had inside the paint today, which he's been able to catch and release on that patented left-hand shot of his.
27-25. There's Brown, dishes underneath to McCarroll. Can't control it, and here comes Syracuse.
Brown probably should have taken that shot, Vern.
Pace. Page picks up McNamara.
And he picks him up, looks at him right as he's looking at him right in the belt button, wanting to make sure that he doesn't make any move to get away. Terrific defensive player is Page.
McNamara 0 for 6 from the field in this game. Pace. Off the glass, no good. Rebound, Roberts, out of bounds.
Roberts doesn't have the same kinds of hands that Taft had inside for Pittsburgh. He should have been able to catch that ball and put it away.
Yeah, you look at Jimmy Boeheim. I'm thinking he's 28 years now as the head coach. Of course, he played at Syracuse 63 and up to 66. His team with Dave Bing averaged 99 points per game in that season without a 3-point shot.
Well, these two teams could play for the next week and not get to 99 points the way it's going. Nice pass.
McCarroll foul. Let's take a look at today's Wooden Award Profile presented by Allstate. John R. Wooden Award. Julius Page, a senior guard from Pittsburgh, averaging 12 points per game and has started 42 straight. Here's McCarroll at the line. For more on the Wooden Award candidates, log on to cbssportsline.com.
Burnett was a foul and not a block, but when you look at this league in the nation, 6 of the top 15 shot blocking teams in the nation are playing in the Big East. Connecticut #1, Syracuse 2, Rutgers 6, West Virginia 9, Providence 13, and Pitt 15. It gives you a lot of reasons why you don't think you're going to get many shots off in the paint with that kind of shot blocking ability.
28-25.
There's Page again, beating McNamara right out to the spot.
And here's a steal by Krauser.
That all started because of the way Page is playing McNamara. Just a lousy pass and a sleepy pass from the wing.
Krauser's got 9. Pace. No basket. Foul on Krauser. Tournament is right around the corner. Will your favorite team make the cut? Check out Projecting the Field at cbssportsline.com.
Pitt looking for a little working margin right here in a game that's this tight. You know, a 5 to 7 point lead is huge.
Here's Warwick. McNamara on the bench now, sitting next to Jim Boeheim. Roberts over Brown, too much. Fourth goes up, grabs it, and is fouled.
McCarroll does the job on the offensive end, but nowhere near the presence that Taft is on the defensive end of the floor.
That is the first Pitt foul of this half.
Beautiful
second foul. Ooh, wow.
Beautiful move. So quick to the basket.
30-27.
Zone out a little bit too high right now. Pitt will be able to get the ball inside. There it is.
There's Troutman. Nice bounce pass. The double. Back to Troutman for two.
That was terrific execution by Pitt, but that was really a failure on the zone defense. Both players were up at the top of the key, allowing the passing lane to go right down on the foul line.
McCloskey, the freshman. Pace. Krauser defensively. And one.
Excellent footwork by Warwick on the inside, even though Troutman is a good defender. This is just terrific footwork. And look at how quickly Warwick delivers that ball to the rim.
Troutman picks up his third foul.
And Warwick will really cover some ground inside. You see Taft back in the ball game. And what Jamie Dixon's having a problem with right now, he can't go with both of his big guys without having McCarroll in the game for some offense.
Warwick cans it. He's got 12 points and 5 rebounds. And with 11:39 remaining, the margin only 2.
CBS Sports college basketball coverage is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz, located at MBUSA.com. Wachovia Securities. Together we can achieve uncommon results. And by Miller. There's good enough and there's better than it has to be. Miller, good call.
Always fun to see each year the first team into the NCAA tournament. Who will be first this year? Well, Princeton has a game-and-a-half lead with 3 to play in the Ivy League. That's an automatic spot. And the conference tournaments with the final a week from now. Southern, the Big South, the Atlantic Sun, and the Ohio Valley.
Well, Princeton in the Ivy League, the only one without that postseason conference tournament now that the Pac-10 and the Big Ten have gone that route. So the regular season champion gets to go.
32-30 here in this significant Big East encounter.
Again, look at where that zone is. Look at where the feet are and the guys up on the top. Out a little bit too high, particularly when Brown handles the ball out there. You know he's not going to take the jumper. He wants to play right in here.
There's Brown, a little fadeaway. Tip, no. Chase down in the corner. And bodies bump. Jerron Brown and Josh Pace. Jamie Dixon up, first year, 38-year-old head coach. He and his wife Jackie became parents for the second time on Wednesday. A daughter, Shannon, born right after the win at Georgetown. They also had Jack Connor, year and a half old. Jump stop, Page, left side, entry pass, and McCarroll is fouled.
And one of the things against this zone, it makes no sense for Krauser to pass the ball on the perimeter over to a Brown. Brown's not going to take the shot, so the zone gets a chance to be reestablished. What Pitt did so well early in this ball game is got the ball down inside against the zone.
That was the third team foul on Syracuse. Both teams with 3 team fouls.
There's where they want to go.
And the dish. Oh, Taft and Roberts, and they're going to get Taft. Well, McNamara comes back. He's still scoreless, Billy.
Well, as I said, I think he's got a case of the tired legs right now in a jumper, and also he's got a case of a guy named Julius Page on him. Page defensively helped Chris Thomas to 2 for 15 last year, and Brent Darby 1 for 9. So it's not like he hasn't done it before. And there he is again.
Boy,
he fights right out over those screens. McNamara not getting any good looks.
Here's Pace. I don't think Page has been more than 4 feet away from McNamara on defense today. There's Fourth with a follow.
Fourth ought to be ready to get on the offensive glass every time Warwick touches the ball, because Warwick's being double teamed, meaning nobody's on Fourth.
Tied at 32. Foul underneath. Monday on CBS All New, beginning with Yes Dear and Still Standing, then the Emmy Award-winning Everybody Loves Raymond and the new hit 2.5 Men, followed by Monday's #1 drama CSI Miami, plus an all-new late show with David Letterman. Monday right here on America's Most Watched Network. Fourth picked up his 3rd foul.
Technical foul on Jamie Dixon on the side, wanting a foul as opposed to the block on that play. That puts McNamara on the line, and we know what a great free throw shooter he is. He'll be shooting 2.
Jim Burr called the technical.
That was quick, wasn't it?
Really quick. There's McNamara. Take another look at the play about which Jamie Dixon was complaining.
Well, a good break to the inside, and I think he might have had a complaint there. A lot of bodies going up it, but they have allowed him to play under the basket pretty well today. So 2 free throws and the ball out of bounds. Syracuse with the lead.
Those were McNamara's first points of the ball game. Still scoreless from the field. Krauser with the foul.
I like what Pace is doing with Krauser. He's wanting to penetrate with the dribble. Krauser is very strong, but he can take him with that left hand and get around on the side.
Fourth team foul on Pitt. Krauser's second. Here's Warwick. Over McCarroll.
What a tough shot. Wow. He wanted a foul on the play, too. He altered that shot in the air. Plays like a 7-footer on the offensive end of the floor with those long arms. Terrific job on his part.
Biggest Syracuse lead. Warwick has 14 points. Krauser.
Hey, is that going to be Warwick's foul? That's number 3 on Warwick. Down to 9 minutes and 8 seconds. But watch how he alters this shot. Look at the stretch on those arms. Incredible play on his part, being well defended, and still gets the shot off.
At the other end, Warwick picked up his 3rd. A nice pump fake from Krauser got him airborne. There's the screen from Troutman. The dish, and Taft wasn't ready for it. Maybe too hard?
I don't know. Normally he throws that as a bounce pass. That ball was thrown right off the dribble. I thought it was catchable. But again, that's what Pitt needs to do. Put the ball on the floor, penetrate against this zone, get the ball inside, because they do not have a real good perimeter shooting team.
Here's Warwick again.
I love what Syracuse doing. They're going to Warwick time and time again.
Taft way up, tapped it into the hands of Julius Page.
Page had to be careful going backcourt on that play.
Thought he had, yes.
Yeah, 1 foot over. Hadn't taken the ball over. That was close.
3:20 since Pitt scored last. Jump stop, pass. Again, Taft can't hang on. Troutman throws it up and will go to the free throw line.
Even though it looks crowded in there, I think if you're Pitt, get the ball down inside that zone and just keep banging away. You've got a lot of fouls you can give. Warwick's got 3. Pitt's a lot stronger inside. Good hands on the part of all their interior players. They've shown no willingness to take the jump shot, so go inside.
That is the 4th on 4th, and McNeil's going to come on.
Well, McNeil, good wide body in there. He has had good games against Pittsburgh in the past, but hasn't gotten much going this year at all.
5th-year senior. Was a starter as a redshirt freshman. Had some foot injuries.
He had tendonitis in the toe. He had hammer toes was the problem. Had to sit out that first year. Then there comes those free throw shooting woes.
We talked about how poor both of these teams are at the line, and Pittsburgh now 4 of 9.
I think if you're Syracuse, get the ball to Warwick and make the entire offense revolve around him the rest of the way. Here he goes.
There's that fadeaway again. Tip, not quite. Still loose, controlled by Jerron Brown.
McNeil, Roberts need to be going to the glass every time Warwick touches the ball and get position for a rebound.
Page kicks it back outside. There's Krauser, pump fake again, tried to get Warwick to pick up his fourth. Underneath, Brown, and again Taft having trouble holding the ball, but he gets this one in.
But see what happens, Vern, when they take that ball down inside against his zone, good things happen. They did it so effectively to start this game, and then have gotten away from it.
Those are the first Pitt points in 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Krauser goes for the steal from behind. It's in the hands of McNamara.
Great defensive recovery by Page.
There's Warwick again.
Very good move by Syracuse. I love the strategy being played here. Pitt going inside with penetration against the zone. Syracuse recognizing they've got a horse, ride it.
Tonight on 60 Minutes, meet a guy who wields a surfboard like A-Rod swings a baseball bat. Is he really that good? No, he's better. Tonight on 60 Minutes. You know who graduated from Syracuse in 1967? Steve Croft of 60 Minutes.
About that. He followed that team to the Final Four last year. Very enthusiastic basketball fan.
Warwick, Brown gets on the elevator and grabs the rebound.
Warwick was 18 for 22 in a 30-point game against Rhode Island. 18 for 22 for the foul line. Foul shots could be very important down the stretch here.
Krauser. McCarroll calls for it. Turns around, takes the jumper, too strong. Pace for Syracuse.
I think Roberts hurt his ankle there. He's going to try to run it off.
Roberts limping. McNamara has the ball.
Pace, can he turn the corner again on Krauser with that dribble?
There's Page on McNamara. And Warwick again. Skip pass into the corner. 7 on the shot clock. Offensive foul.
Is that going to be on Warwick? Wow,
yes.
That's his fourth. A very cheap foul and a tough one for Syracuse. With all the banging we've seen today, here was a little touch foul.
Well, Jamie Dixon's team trailing, but Hakeem Warwick just picked up his fourth. Jamie Dixon. He might turn 40 before this one's over. This one has been a physical battle. Syracuse up by 3 points in the paint.
Well, last ball game in which Pitt won handily, they had a 40-18 advantage of points in the paint. Syracuse doing a much better job. Now watch this battling inside. And there's no question it was a foul. Warwick right there hits Troutman. What I love about the way Pitt plays defense, it reminds me of those great Michigan State teams that won a national championship and had multiple years to the Final Four. They are tough, they play hard, but they play clean. I really like that mindset defensively.
Now they're yielding on a per-game average 39% from the field for their opponents. Below that today, here's Krauser. Been ineffective offensively in this half. McNamara will
How about that fast break?
Warwick stays on the floor with 4 fouls.
Even with defensive balance, you don't stop a guy that's getting about 3 feet over the basket on a dunk.
1 for 5 from the field for Warwick in the first half. He's really responded here in the second stanza. Here's Krauser. Kicks it in the corner. Page. Jumper short. Good defense by Jerome McNeil.
This is not a good shooting team. They just they don't force you to have to play them on the perimeter at all, with the exception of Krauser.
Nearing the 5-minute mark. Pace blows it up wildly. Here's Page. Brown.
Well, what caused that? McNamara got caught down inside. No defensive violence when Pace turned the corner.
Three-point game. 4:39 to go.
Smart play by Krauser, knowing Pace is going to go left, left, left. He really got over on the side to stop it.
McCarroll on Warwick. There's the fadeaway again. McCarroll clears the rebound. Krauser will push it up. Offensive foul. McNamara took the charge. That's the third foul on Krauser.
And here we're going to see when a big man will run the floor and finish. That is a great finish that time. Just over the top of the guards. Terrific play.
Nearing the 4-minute mark.
It's amazing to me that Syracuse cannot set some back screens to get Page away from McNamara. He's always playing him face up.
McNamara still has not canned one from the field. 0 for 6 as he has been for quite a while, and a foul on Pittsburgh.
Now, we talked about the situation with Warwick picking up those 2 cheap fouls. Remember the one defensively when he went for the pump fake that he got in the air on the jump shot, and then that one down inside, the ball wasn't even coming to him. So he has to be very careful, not only in the defensive end, where he probably can protect himself fairly well, but the offensive end, where he loves to have those post-up moves and go to the basket.
Warwick having an effective day at the free throw line. He's 5 of 7. Syracuse also having an effective day, 7 of 9. The other 2 up, and McCarroll knocks Nichols backwards.
I had 2 big points that Syracuse gave away. We talk about good teams have got to be tough on the free throw line. This is just like second-round game in the NCAA tournament. You've got to make those free throws.
Page not there. Troutman tries to save it, does. It's still loose. Troutman and pace and elbows and a hell ball. Possession arrow, Pittsburgh.
How strong is Troutman? Ripped that ball loose. Nice sportsmanship there between Pace and Krauser.
Tough ball game. Time call. It has been almost 26 months since Pittsburgh last lost at home. 2002 in the old Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. Brandon Knight led Pitt's effort early, but then Chris Thomas and David Graves hit late threes to boost Notre Dame to the 56-53 victory. Pittsburgh has since won 40 straight home games. The first of those at Fitzgerald, a 72-57 win against Syracuse.
Vern, I go back to the old Manley Fieldhouse when Syracuse had a 57-game streak. The last game ever played there, 57 in a row they'd won. Georgetown and John Thompson came in and beat them 52-50 to close out that gymnasium.
Pitt 34-0 in this beautiful new basketball arena, now nearing the end of its second year as the home of Pitt. Nearing 3 minutes as well. Here's Krauser off the mark. Troutman tries to get it. Brown does and puts it in.
Well, you just assume that the shot is going to be missed. That's John Wooden's old standby for rebounding. But when you're a Pitt player, you assume it for more reasons than one. They just can't get anything to drop outside.
Down low, pace. Troutman got a hand on his wrist. Let's check the CBS Sportsline stat of the game. Points in the paint. Syracuse up by 8 in that category. Sharp contrast from the first game between these two. Got complete game stats at CBSSportsline.com. Well, we talked about ineffective free throw shooting. Josh Pace.
He's shooting 19 for 45 on the year, 42%. Maybe you ought to try that running left-hand shot on the move. You know, do something a little different.
Troutman picks up his 4th. Pace, first time at the line.
Quiets this crowd.
Money.
Well, if a guy's a 42% shooter, there's no way he makes this one, right? Because he's already made one. 1 out of 2 would be, he'd be a little less than that.
You're right. McCarroll grabs it for Pitt. 2-point game, 2:35 to go. A 40-game win streak on the line.
Well, if I'm Pitt, I'd take that ball inside, dribble or otherwise. There's a good example. They've been making it work on missed shots.
Krauser misses on the little runner. McCarroll can't hang on, and here comes McNamara walking it up. And guess who he's going to see? Julius Page.
See, there's where I think, Vern, you set a solid screen on Page from behind and then get McNamara free on somebody else just to get rid of that shadow.
Time called, Syracuse. Time called with 2 minutes and 4 seconds remaining. The defending national champions, 18-6 for the season, and hoping to put the plug in a 40-game win streak for Pitt. Syracuse with 2 timeouts remaining, Pitt with 3. Both teams in the bonus, and the possession arrow favors the Orange.
Well, and you'd like to get in those 10th fouls so you can be sure you have 2. That 1-on-1's tight on both of these teams.
So they wrapped Hakeem Warwick's right hand during the timeout. Here's Pace. McNamara with Page right there.
Wow, wow. Not the good shot you want. Gets no lift, and he was too far away. Again, I think what you've got to do is set the screen to get Page off of McNamara.
Now you saw Jimmy Boeheim say, "What were you thinking?" McNamara 0 for 7 from the field.
And here comes some penetration to get that ball down inside.
4th back on the floor with 4 fouls. Warwick has played a good 5 minutes with 4. Brown back outside. Page. Here's Krauser.
Yes, sir. That was a charge. Excellent defensive play by Roberts.
The freshman from Jersey City, New Jersey.
And Vern, you see how much pressure that puts on Pitt to not have a perimeter shooting game. They know they've got to go down inside. Pitt takes a timeout. 1:32 to go.
Terrence Roberts takes the charge. Timeout, Pitt down by 2. Here's the lineup tonight on CBS. We begin with America's #1 news magazine, 60 Minutes, followed by television's most watched new drama, Cold Case. Then Tommy Lee Jones, Samuel L. Jackson, and Ben Kingsley star in the network premiere, Rules of Engagement. It's all here tonight on CBS, America's most watched network.
Now, Vern, if you're McNamara, too, one of the things you want to think about, you're not getting your jump shot off. Maybe dribble penetration, try to get fouled, to get on that foul line. Page not giving you any jump shots.
Here's Warwick way outside, and McCarroll guarding him. 5-second count. They get it back in the hands of McNamara. 15 on the shot clock.
See if you can penetrate if you're McNamara. Don't go for the jump shot. Here he comes. And gets fouled. Yes, sir.
4, and that's 5 fouls on Krauser.
That was a very smart move. Try to get fouled with the dribble. And what really hurts, not only a foul there by Krauser, but he's out of the ball game. The one guy that you have that can hit a jump shot if you're Pitt.
And you put an 87% free throw shooter on the line.
And that's something that I expected him to do because he was having such difficulty on the outside. Just put it on the floor and try to draw a foul.
See how significant McNamara is at the line for this team? And he's got a couple.
He had the 3-point shot to beat Georgetown. And these free throws could be very, very deadly to Pitt right here. Nice follow through. One of the best free throw shooters in the country.
Gets them both.
Smart play on his part to put that ball on the floor. And you put him on the line, it's kind of like J.J. Redick. You know, it's something good's going to happen.
Less than a minute. 40-game home win streak in the balance. Yuri Dimitris back on the floor. Here's Page for 3. Rainbow!
Great step up by a senior. Great step up.
Beautiful shot. Julius Page. Time called. Pittsburgh. 46.2 to go. Pitt with a timeout left. Syracuse can stop it twice. The possession arrow point.
Well, they'll have to give up the ball. We know that. If you're Syracuse, only 2 guys need to be touching the ball at all on this offensive possession. And obviously we know Hakeem Warwick is one backing out of the other. Because Pace, being the poor free throw shooter that he is, if you're Pitt, you wouldn't mind trading the foul there if you have to get the ball back.
11-second difference, game clock and shot clock. 35 to go. There's McNamara with Page.
He better penetrate and go to the basket again. He's not going to get anything out there.
Look at Page, stay with him. There's the screen from Fourth. 8 on the shot clock. Now it's Warwick. Spins, Troutman there. Troutman.
One step too many. 14 seconds to go. We talked about Pitt, and their only 2 losses have been tight ball games.
Jamie Dixon signals he wants to chat with his team.
Looks kind of calm over there, doesn't he?
He does. First game in this current win streak, Pittsburgh defeated Syracuse 72-57, January 22nd, 2002. They've not lost since, 34-0 in this arena.
You know, Vern, one of the things that I'm seeing, not only are teams on the bubble this year feeling pressure, but also teams like Pitt that are fighting for #1 seeds. So we have it working kind of like an accordion. You know, the top teams worrying about the seeds, the bottom guys just trying to get in. But in either case, a lot of pressure.
Makes it a pretty exciting time of year, doesn't it? All right, Page will inbound. Brown. Pace back to just apply a little pressure. And we've got 10 seconds to go. Demetrius, here's Page. Demetrius, not a shooter. Page, entry pass, loose ball, foul!
Fourth, that's his 5th.
Boeheim in disbelief.
Troutman goes to the line. He's a 60% free throw shooter. It also hurts Syracuse in this regard. Fourth is a good free throw shooter down on the other end of the floor of the big men that Jim Boeheim has.
Troutman has missed twice today.
Last year he was a 72% free throw shooter, so he does have some ability.
As a team, Pittsburgh, and we've chatted about this more than once. Pittsburgh 4 of 9 at the line today.
Again, I'll put that disbelieving stat. Pitt 11th in the Big East, Syracuse 12th, and Connecticut, which controls the league in most all other statistics. There's the foul by Fourth. No question about the push. This game has been very well officiated, despite the fact that these teams play such hard-nosed basketball.
1-1 with 3.2 left.
And the key here, block out for the missed free throws. Tied ball game with Brown. So if you're Syracuse, you really want to keep Taft off the boards here in case of a miss.
Siobhan Troutman, Williamsport, Pennsylvania. And he shoots one more for the lead. No! Taft! He called time.
Oh, they should have given the time. The timeout call was made way before the horn sounded.
Right in front of John Cahill.
Syracuse didn't get it, however. Boy, I thought that Taft was going to put that missed free throw back in there. So to go overtime.
Take another look at Chris Taft going for the rebound.
Said blocking out. Taft almost got it. The chance to put it back up on the boards. Oh, I think they lost. They lost some time there. They should have had a chance.
Time call. Another look at the second free throw attempt, Siobhan Troutman.
There's what I was talking about, the block out. Taft had his hands on the ball. And here I thought for Syracuse that right here they're calling timeout and no call made. There was 0.6 of a second left and they did not get it.
You see two of them signaling timeout.
And they have possession of the ball without question, and they don't get the timeout. Now, Vern, setting up this overtime, interesting. You've got an incredible job. Warwick has played 8 minutes with 4 fouls. Fourth is fouled out of the game for Syracuse. Krauser is fouled out of the game for Pitt. I'd say a bigger loss for Pitt there in this regard. There's a steal of the tap.
Yep.
Same thing that started this game.
This one is called. It'll be Syracuse ball. Well, if you're just tuning in, no, this is not a halftime score. 42-all. As we begin the first overtime game ever played in the Peterson Event Center.
And in the case of Pitt, they've won an overtime game this year and they've lost an overtime game.
Here's Pace. Demetris on for Krauser.
Oh! Could have been a foul call on that play as well. There's that left-hander, Demetris, nowhere near the defender on him that Krauser was, so he shoots right over him.
Josh Pace has 13 points in the game. Carl Krauser on the bench with 5. Troutman, nice dish. Brown foul, goes to the line. McNeil picked up the foul.
And here's Brown on the foul line, a 58% free throw shooter. There's this interior passing we've seen so well. Brown gets fouled up by McNeil on the inside. Free throw shooting, obviously paramount importance in an overtime.
One more for Jerron Brown. Tonight on CBS will begin with 60 Minutes, followed by Cold Case, and then the network premiere, Rules of Engagement.
These seniors from Pitt are 101 and 27. They've won 79% of their games. That's what happens. A 58% free throw shooter that's a senior, not used to losing berries too.
Tied at 44. Brown on Pace. Here's McNamara, trailed by Julius Page, as he has been for 42 minutes.
I like that change of defensive assignments. Brown on Pace.
As Taft, as Warwick muscles in, adjusts. McNamara, first field goal of the game. It's for 3.
I can't fault Page. Page assumed that Warwick was going up for that shot. He turned his head. Great recovery by Warwick.
McNamara now 1 of 8. Demetris, the junior.
He's got to go inside. He's no threat outside.
Here's Page. Taft. Again, sloppy ball handling. Troutman gets it back.
Well, we're talking about now Syracuse gained possession, so we're going to see if they're going to put the clock back. Reset it to 35 because they feel that McNamara did get possession. There's that jump shot. And a terrific play by Warwick, wasn't it, Vern?
Yes, it was. Adjustment in midair.
It was good defense by Troutman on him, and he had to find a man and hit him.
Yuri Demetris, number 3. There's the pass into Taft, and McNeil draws the foul. Senior from San Antonio.
Well, if you're Syracuse, just keep packing it in, and trying to stop that interior passing that Pitt does so well against the zone.
Taft, 1 of 2 today. You see he's under 60% for the year.
Wow, that ball has no rotation on it at all.
Looks like Hoyt Wilhelm with a knuckleball.
It's about the only thing this young man doesn't do well. Passes, he can block shots, he can rebound. Can't shoot free throws.
Tipped into the hands of McNamara. 3 minutes to go in overtime. Pace.
Big possession here to open up a 4-pointer.
McNamara. And here's Warwick again. Spin move, beauty. Short with the shot. McNeil with a rebound. Taken away by Jerron Brown.
Why did he bring it down?
And a foul called on Pitt. Oh, no, he was on the baseline.
Called him out of bounds.
Yes.
McNeil had no business bringing that ball down, put it right in Brown's hands.
Ball to be inbounded by Syracuse. Brown right in space.
5 seconds, almost.
Time called, Syracuse. 2 minutes and 41 seconds to go. 47-45. We'll get you to 60 minutes as soon as this game is complete. And Cold Case and the network premiere of Rules of Engagement. That's the lineup tonight on CBS. 2 minutes, 41 seconds to go. Syracuse by 2.
Vern, you know, I'm thinking back to last year when Pitt really deserved to have the bracket that Syracuse had in the NCAA tournament. Instead, they went out to the Midwest. Remember that? And lost to Marquette. You've got to beat who you play, but in that particular case, I felt that Pitt was the one to deserve the best situation from the Big East.
60 minutes at its usual time of 7 p.m. Eastern. Here's Warwick. Pace.
They can't go right. Taft. Pace has to come back to your left.
9 rebounds for the freshman, Chris Taft. Page with a pump fake. Demetrius. Huge. Not there.
That was a wide open look, too. Nobody around.
Well, Demetrius, who averaged 31 points per game as a senior in high school, is now 3 of 16 from three-point range in this his junior season. Not a threat from outside.
Pace having a hard time turning that corner on Brown, who's so strong.
Timeout, Syracuse.
Down to 7 seconds.
97 seconds to go. It's still Syracuse by 2. Well, we've established one theme for this afternoon. That is free throw shooting lows. Both teams in the double bonus.
That helps because you're not at that front end of a 1-and-1. Bad free throw shooters sometimes really feel extra pressure in that situation. Only 7 seconds here, Vern.
1:37 to go in overtime.
Good backdoor cut by McNamara.
Oh, he has to adjust in the air. It's in and out. And there's Taft with his 10th rebound.
Nice recovery by Page. The backdoor cut finally got loose, but realized Page was coming from behind.
Yuri Demetrius. Page. Taft doubled. Brown back to Demetrius. Jerron Brown, that one's altered. May have been tipped. And Chris Taft is going to the line.
You know, one of the things that's amazing, Taft does a great job on this. He again just assumes all shots are going to be missed. And then when they go up, he is already getting himself in position to rebound, which is a great technique of rebounding, and particularly when your team is so woeful from the outside. Well, he made 1 of 2 last time.
Yep. Needs to make 2 of 2 here to get this thing deadlocked again.
Troutman expecting a miss. Powering in. There he is.
And there's Warwick over Troutman for the rebound.
Troutman had the right idea.
McNamara. Under a minute.
Troutman doing a good job on Warwick, too. Keeping the ball away from him inside.
There he is. Stripped cleanly. Taft has it. Demetrius, it's 3-on-3. Troutman wants it. Back to Demetrius. Adjustment, no. McNeil, no call.
Nice job by McNeil rebounding in traffic. There's a foul. Not
guess who's going to the line? Chevrolet most valuable players of the game: Hakeem Warwick from Syracuse and Chris Taft from Pittsburgh. Chevrolet will make a contribution to each school's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements and to assist those in financial need.
That was a foul on Brown. I'm kind of surprised that he went after McNamara that way, because McNamara is way away from in any kind of a range to shoot. We're overlooking shot clock situation, 24 seconds on the clock, and what Brown thought is time ran off after he had made the foul. And that's what I think they're looking at right now.
Well, as they discuss this, Jim Boeheim calls his team over.
Here's the other thing to think about, Vern. You're putting a good free throw shooter on the line. If he makes both of these free throws, you're down 3, but you don't have a three-point threat. Krauser out of the ball game if you're Pitt, so you got to take it to the basket as quickly as possible.
All right, let's take a look at the clock now on the right side.
See, Brown never should have gone for the foul. See, it's at 27 when the foul is committed. Brown was smart enough to see that the clock was still working, and it gets down to 24, so there should be 3 seconds more put on the clock. See if they do it.
Yes, they do. Just did.
Yep. That was pretty smart by Brown, wasn't it, to see that? But he never should have committed that foul.
Now Jamie Dixon's got his team in the first overtime game ever played here. And Jerry McNamara is at the line where he is perfect this afternoon. Pittsburgh, just to underline the point Billy made, McNamara shoots one more. Pittsburgh is 3 of 14 from beyond the arc today, but 2 of those 3 converted by Carl Krauser, who's on the bench. Now McCarroll's back in, and he can hit the ball.
Yeah, he's right. McCarroll's back in the ball game for offense. Huge.
McCarroll is hitting 47%. Not that many, but he can shoot it from outside.
I think that Pitt should go inside quickly off the dribble and not look for the 3 right away. Get the ball inside, try to get 2 possessions here.
15 to go. Page. Demetrius. From the corner, Brown. Tip, no. Tipped again, no. 4.7 remaining. Pitt has the ball.
I'll tell you what, if I'm Syracuse, I foul. I do not give them an opportunity to go ahead on the boards.
Pitt calls time. 4.7 remaining. Again, a reminder, tonight's lineup on CBS, 60 Minutes, followed by Cold Case, and then the network premiere of Rules of Engagement. The lineup tonight on CBS.
Vern, 2 things that you can think about if you're Syracuse here. 1, foul immediately on that inbounds pass. Put a bad free throw shooter on the line. Number 2, any ball that goes up, don't try to rebound it. Smack it down the other end of the court.
Yuri Demetrius will inbound. Troutman, Brown, Page, and McCarroll. The other 4 on the floor.
There's McCarroll. He's got it. Off the mark. Barely. And a 40-game win streak comes to a conclusion. He got exactly the shot they wanted. I thought it was going in.
In overtime, Syracuse wins it. Final score 49-46. This a presentation of CBS Sports, home of the men's NCAA basketball championship.